At the clock tower, recall that Darkness had just led Maleficent into this strange room, insisting that she quickly take an arc and return back to her own time, when Lauriam confronted her. Maleficent realizes that there are others trapped in the date escape with her, bantering with Lauriam, who insists that she isn't on the invite list. Maleficent agrees and says that she was just leaving, allowing Lauriam to realize that these pods, which he had previously paid no mind to, can be used as some form of exit. He simply assumed that this room was a basic lab or used for simple storage, to which Maleficent agrees that that could have been the case. But whoever used to work here was doing some sort of research which now lies abandoned. And with that, she will take her leave, turning her back on Lauriam, who prepares to strike. He lashes out with his Divine Rose Keyblade against the time-traveling sorceress. Meanwhile, recall that last month, Brain had just told Ven that his name was not on the list of selected Union leaders. From that we can infer that the names on the list were Ephema, Skald, Brain, Lauriam, and Strelitzia. This is the list that the Master of Masters himself wrote, and Master Ava was supposed to fulfill his wishes by bestowing a green rulebook onto all of those chosen. Ven is of course taken back by this, slowly reiterating that Master Ava really did choose him. He was sure of it. Brain doesn't think Ven is lying, which causes Ephema to wonder if this confusion and turmoil was what Master Ava wanted to happen. Again, Brain doesn't think so. Only the Dandelions made it to this new world, and so if Strelitzia isn't in this reality, then logically she wouldn't have been made a Dandelion. Except that can't be true. The group already knows that Strelitzia was trying to recruit our character to be a Dandelion, something she would have only done if she was already a Dandelion herself. And in any case, even if Master Ava had pulled a switcheroo, there's no way she would have forced Strelitzia to stay behind and fight in the war. Well, that leaves the question. Who invited Ven? Brain ponders. What was the purpose of the Dandelions? To which Ephema replies, to preserve the light of the past. And what wouldn't want only light to persevere? Darkness. Darkness can hide its form, even appearing human. Skald pieces together what Brain is inferring, that the Master Ava Ven believed he had met was not really Master Ava at all. Brain asks Ven if there was anything strange about the time that Master Ava gave him his rulebook. Ven tries to recall. She just said that she wanted him to be one of the 5 Union leaders. She gave him his rulebook and said that when the war was ended, he was to return to the battleground and find 4 other people waiting there for him. Brain presses. Was there anything else? Ven confesses that the first time he met Master Ava was in a dark, gloomy warehouse. Ephema is shocked that it wasn't by the tower as Ven had initially said, though Ven clarifies that they did talk by the tower very soon after. He continues. On that day, Ven had been requested to meet Master Ava in that warehouse, and sheepishly walked into the gloomy room, calling out to her and beginning to wonder if he got the wrong place. Ven is startled as a young girl enters the room. And then Master Ava probably came in and collected him. Then they walked over to the clock tower, and Ava gave him his rulebook. Yeah. Brain stops him. Why did you say probably? Ven admits that from the moment he saw that girl until the moment he walked out of the house with Ava, he has absolutely no memory of what happened. Brain asks, are you sure it was really Ava? Ven strains his memory and can vaguely recall an image of the girl lying motionless on the floor as he bends down and picks up her rulebook, causing him to clutch his head in pain. Skald shows concern, and Brain suggests that they head back to the tower for now. But back in the tower, a battle has raged. Maleficent and Darkness are nowhere to be seen. Like his sister before him, Lauriam also lies still on the floor. The arc in the center of the room has been destroyed, and one of the 6 arcs that adorned the bizarre machine are gone. Maleficent has returned to the future. What an update with so many implications. First of all, it seems that unfortunately, Lauriam lost the battle against Maleficent. I wonder though, was this a fair fight? In the previous update, Darkness vanished as soon as Lauriam entered the room to confront Maleficent. He most likely believed himself to be fighting one foe. There was no way that Darkness would let Lauriam stop his plans to send Maleficent back to the future, so perhaps Darkness was able to sneak up on Lauriam and knock him out. Lauriam still seems to be alive though. Remember in Kingdom Hearts, when a person truly dies, their body disappears. And Lauriam clearly still has his, but will he be unscathed from the battle? That centipod certainly wasn't unscathed though. It's been ripped in half and clearly out of commission. With the one that Maleficent presumably took also gone, that only leaves 5 pods left to escape into the future with, leaving us with the same question as in the previous video. Just who is going to use these pods? Ven, Lauriam, and Elraina most likely, but now there's one less vessel to save these poor innocent kids. Or maybe not. What if out of desperation, Brain tries to repair this vessel with disastrous consequences? Demyx and Luxord also allegedly contain secrets about the ancient Keyblade War, but this update has almost sealed my beliefs that the war Xemnas is referring to isn't the Union Cross Keyblade War. As the translations are, though very much appreciated, still unofficial, I can't help but wonder if there are also 7 pods waiting in the real Daybreak Town Tower. And if so, perhaps those could be used by any survivors or non-combatants of the Kingdom Hearts Key Keyblade War, fought by those not chosen to become dandelions, to travel into the future. Demyx sure seems like the non-combative type. And poor Ven. Ven looks utterly horrified throughout this entire update. He already had his doubts about his worthiness as a wielder, and couldn't believe that Master Ava actually chose him. Well, sorry buddy, she didn't. Darkness possessed his body at the moment that Strelitzia entered the room and used it to strike her down. Darkness either then planted false memories in Ven's head about Ava talking to him and giving him the rulebook, or actually took on her appearance and let him believe that he was chosen to be a Union leader. But the level of omniscience and timing that Darkness possesses here is unreal. Darkness knew that Strelitzia was out looking for our character and would walk into this exact building at this exact moment, and had pre-arranged for Ven to be here only moments before, while also making sure that Gula, Skuld, and our character would have already left by this point, and that Ava herself would be occupied with Luxu. If my theory is correct, about Darkness being the same Darkness that infected Dark Chirithy, that would also have to time perfectly with our character unchaining Darkness from that Chirithy vessel and allowing it to possess Ven. Darkness also has to have known correctly about the Master of Masters' instructions that new Union leaders would meet at the Keyblade Graveyard, and that Strelitzia was one of those chosen to be a leader. This is time travel levels of perfect planning and execution. At least it seems like our Union leaders are onto Darkness's trail though. It may be a bit of a writing convenience, but they have somehow correctly ascertained that a sentient embodiment of Darkness is able to possess people and alter their memories. What will they do with this information though? I believe Darkness didn't board the Ark and still lingers in this time. Perhaps it is even closer than the group realizes. What will Lauriam do now? His friends will likely soon return to him and tell him that there is a plot by a sentient being of darkness that killed his sister and put Ven in her place. Would Lauriam be wrong to assume that the dark figure is Maleficent and try to chase her into the future to find out why and to exact his revenge? Maleficent travelled to the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 chronologically. Lauriam may well decide to get there slightly beforehand and familiarise himself with this new time, and if the Union leaders don't wish to assist him in his quest for revenge, then maybe somebody else will. But the journey through time seems to exact a heavy toll on those who undertake it. I believe the trip will cost Lauriam and Elraina their memories, leaving them confused as to where they have arrived and why they're there in the first place. But there is a lingering will deep below the surface. Lauriam will know he has forgotten something terribly important to him, and when a mysterious cloaked man approaches them with an offer, join our organization and perhaps we can restore your memories, the two begrudgingly accept his offer, becoming nobodies and members 11 and 12 of Organization 13. But at least Lauriam and Elraina retain the memories of their names. Whoever Subject X is, she unfortunately doesn't even get to keep that. Her only memories are of 4 friends and a key, and the phrase, "May your heart be your guiding key." Perhaps this is the fate of whoever takes the broken, restored pod, to lose almost every scrap of memory you hold dear. Again, I can't shake the image of everybody climbing into a pod and in unison saying, "May your heart be your guiding key" as the doors close, though none of them will ever see each other again. Ven also seems to retain at least his own name, but as his Chirithy states, when Ven arrives in the present, he doesn't remember the past. Again, I have to assume that that's the effect of the Ark, but now that I'm wondering, what if that's the effect of Darkness's memory-altering abilities? While we're here, what is Darkness's plan? If Darkness latches onto Ven and travels through time with him in the form of the lingering Vanitas deep in his heart, is the point just to get close to Master Xehanort, a Keyblade wielder who will one day reignite the Keyblade War? The Realm of Light seems relatively safe at this time. Though Xehanort can summon Heartless into the Realm of Light, Vanitas is able to bring about physical manifestations of his dark feelings to truly plague the realm. And Xehanort taking on Ven as an apprentice will eventually lead to him returning to Eraqus to train the boy, while there noticing Terra, and thus forming the plan to forge the Keyblade with Terra's body as his new vessel. But Xehanort was already walking down a dark path, one that the Master of Masters himself led him down. So was Darkness rebelling against the Master's wishes, or perfectly going along with them? And is the Master of Masters truly evil? or simply playing the longest possible con and allowing darkness to make itself vulnerable? Who knows? I sure don't, but boy is it fun to speculate. Thanks again for watching. February's Union Cross update contains some mostly unimportant Sugar Rush cutscenes, while March's was delayed a week to land on the 2nd of April, the one you just watched. We are still due an April update though, which will likely arrive on the 30th. Then 2 months, May and June, of filler, then 2 more months of important updates, being July and August, which could potentially end up being the final updates ever. The Union Cross Global Anniversary is this week. Perhaps we will hear new news about Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, but I predict that game won't actually launch until about June. But until that day comes, I'll be here and I'll be streaming Kingdom Hearts playthroughs among other fun games on my Twitch channel, linked in the description. All the best guys, thanks again so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.